BowTie Barbecue Company at 6724 Waters Avenue in Savannah serves up barbecue both familiar and new, made by hand and made with love. Family friendly and relaxed, BowTie takes great pride in the by hand preparation of high quality beef ribs, smoked chicken, pork spare ribs, and more. Come join the BowTie family. Ask about our food truck and catering too. BowTie Barbecue Company, Southern charm naturally. Look for them online at BowTieBarbecueCO.com.
Welcome into BowTie Barbecue. Christian Gokel here alongside the head football coach for your cadets, Danny Britt, as this is the show we look forward to every year, recapping a semifinals win and previewing a state championship appearance for your cadets. Appreciate everybody tuning in and everyone who made the trek out to BowTie Barbecue today. And Coach, you don't get to the state championship without winning the semifinals, and you guys had a matchup against a team that is very familiar with winning and very familiar with being at that stage in the playoffs. And it was everything we thought it was going to be, a back-and-forth battle with Marist, but your cadets able to come out on top. Home field advantage, I know, played a big deal, but just big performances from your biggest players when you needed it the most.
Yeah, beyond a shadow of a doubt, the guys played really hard, played well. We got some big performances, like you said, from the big time guys, and it was great. It was a tremendous victory. And
you guys come out, get the win, and it felt like field position and third downs and getting off the field and wrapping up in the open field, all the things that sound so cliche. I think we heard Nick Saban on College Game Day this past week saying, I don't want to hear about that because that's what coaches always talk about, but it's what matters in big games like that. It felt like in those crucial moments, you guys step up and made plays.
I think so. I think we did. We understood those moments. We've been in, big time games, and they understood how to play that. And when it came time, the guys were making plays.
And we talk about just having explosive plays. The offense started about as explosively as you could, and offensive line blocked well, but man, you got some playmakers and they get their hands on the football. It's really hard to tackle them.
Yeah, no doubt. Very proud of how they, the guys did that and how they performed, and, felt like, they came out and the big dogs ate, as you say.
And what did y'all see in practice leading up to that in tape and watching that, just that first series when you come out with that game plan? What did y'all see from Marist that you guys were like, hey, I know they like to pound the rock too. We're going to get in tight and show them we can pound the rock?
Yeah, I think it's one. I mean, they as good as they are, Marist, every year in and year out, they're not necessarily physically intimidating.
Right.
So we felt like we had to be able to do that a little bit. And we just wanted to do that and establish the run, establish the clock, because of what they do. It can be very dangerous if you can't, because if you get out there and you're just spinning the rock and you go 3 and out, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
They'll take the next 7 minutes off the clock and score.
And they did it a few times during the game, but just that 7-0 start, Aaron Mallard takes it 80 yards on the first touch of the game, put his shoulder into a guy, and then when he gets in the open field, I don't know if there's anybody on either team that can catch him.
Right.
Just that 7-0 start, we talked about how big against a Marist team that is going to possess the football it was to get out and have a lead early instead of vice versa, where if they get a lead, all of a sudden the entire first quarter is gone. That was massive just in terms of the game plan.
It was huge. It was massive. We knew that as soon as it happened. We're like, oh, okay, now that was huge, because just that, like, Marist's game plan is to control the clock, play good defense, run the ball, and got a tremendous field goal kicker, score every time.
Right.
And but so if you fall behind, you're in trouble. They're gonna limit your possession.
Sure.
So one play, 80 yards, touchdown was very, very important to get the jump on them.
And, Coach, I thought we talked about this a little bit as the game was winding down. I thought Stephen Cannon maybe played his best game as a cadet. I know maybe the stats don't say so, but against the quality of opponent in the stage it was in, you don't see it in the stat book, but there were some 4-yard rushes that should have been 10-yard losses. Right. And just unbelievable contact balance, I thought, but just stepping up and making plays, and you got that from your senior quarterback when you needed it the most.
Without a doubt, he came out, and, Coach Phillips is calling a few more run plays for him, and I think he plays better that way, which I certainly understand as a former football player, that you get into contact a little bit, now you're competing.
Right.
And I feel like he plays better that way, but he looked really good, was running the ball, had over 100 yards rushing, I believe. And like you said, there were several times when we were throwing and he should have been stopped, for a loss. he went ahead and gained 4, 5, 10 yards
right
to keep everything moving.
Yeah, Stephen Cannon, 16 carries, 105 yards, and one touchdown, and then passing 9 of 12, 146 yards, and a touchdown through the air. And I think maybe half of those rushes were called. The other ones were just him taking advantage. I think Marist a few times would just drop 8 and still able to get pressure with those 3, but navigated the pocket, made a linebacker miss, and just able to pick up a first down. In that same kind of vein, you guys were living in dangerous territory for a lot of the night where it felt like couldn't really get anything going on first down. Second down was kind of a stalemate, and then it seemed like it was 3rd and 10, 3rd and 11 all night, but you guys were able to pick it up.
Yeah, which, I remember commenting on that during the game in the headsets. It was unusual. And AJ was like, we just can't get anything on first down. We can't get ahead of the chains. That's something that happens sometimes, but we were able to pick up the big 3rd down conversions, which was huge.
And I think sometimes the defensive coordinator just has a great night, and it just felt like he was rolling double sixes each time when he was calling plays on first down, but you guys were doing the same thing on 3rd down. So it's just football's weird sometimes, and sometimes they just guess the right play each time.
Yeah, definitely. They were, a number of times, and you were like, well, who missed the block? But they stunted perfectly.
Right.
And it's like, well, nobody necessarily. It's just that was a perfect call, and sometimes that happens. And, you're right. Certainly on first down last week, the DC had gotten in a groove.
And we talked about Aaron Mallard a little bit, and obviously he has the 1 carry, 80 yards, and a touchdown there, but also he was a big part of picking up those 3rd downs. And a lot of teams, you get to 3rd and 20, it's, okay, let's pack it in, run a draw play, run a screen play. If we pop something, great. If not, let's punt the football and play field position. You guys are going 4 verticals and running him on a seam route over the middle, and I think he's really developed as a receiver as the season's gone on.
He definitely has, and that was a great call by Coach Phillips, and actually kind of opened it up a little bit, and gave it, and Aaron was right there, and it was a beautiful pass. Actually, that one pass was perfect by Steven because he was not open when he released it. He threw him open, and that was a tremendous job.
I think there's a lot of people have quarterback coaches, and you do all the camps and all the guys you hire during the offseason to work with, but I think that's just something you only get from making that throw a million times in practice.
You have to just do it and know the situation, and he has. And yes, you're right. You can put that, you can talk about it, you can watch it on video, whatever you need to do, but you have to.
You can do the sock thing.
You can do all that stuff. You can go to Daffin Park and pay somebody $200 cash to teach you how to throw into a rubber tire, but it's not going to get you making that pass.
And again, huge pickups and a really strong, I think, efficient performance offensively for you guys. And then defensively, it's never fun playing those guys. And I know the defensive line, you guys communicated with them, been preparing for them for over a week, just with some small segments throughout the weeks leading up, just trying to get ready for it. How do you think that defensive front responded to that style of offense?
I thought they did well. I really do. And I thought, certainly in our situation, Granger came in and had a good game, had a solid game, did exactly what we asked him to do.
Just be mean and run one way.
Just be mean to go that way and take up the blockers and let the other guys make plays. And so I thought they did. I thought they responded well. Cam had a really good game.
Yeah,
he really did. And, made a lot of tackles. I think it was 12 tackles I had him at it, from that.
Yeah, exactly 12. Position. Yeah.
So it was pretty special, and I thought they performed well.
And I think the group, we talked about it because it's such a difficult position to be in, but the group that I thought really stood out was the secondary, and a lot of it was because they stay in their lanes, and we kind of compared it to punt or kickoff coverage, where it's just like you have an assignment, you have to keep going and doing that. I know it's boring and you want to track everything else, but the moment you don't, they're going to pop something, and I thought they came up and tackled really well on the perimeter. A guy was assigned to the quarterback, a guy was assigned to the pitchman, and they didn't break off of that. And then Marist just never able to pop the wide open tight end or receiver down the field when the eyes are in the backfield. I thought really disciplined and really strong game from the secondary.
Yeah, I was proud of them. I agree with you 100%. It was one or two times, I think, our corner came inside when they caught the edge on us, which we have to do a little better job of that. But again, you haven't seen that option,
right?
And you may not see it again for another 3 or 4 years. But no, I thought they did. They definitely tackled well.
Yeah,
definitely came up and tackled well.
And a guy who we're very happy to have back on the football team JoJo Sutton, I know dealing with some injuries beginning of the year and just missed time, but the more he's able to play, the more he develops. And man, he feels like a true lockdown Division I style cornerback. And again, much like he did last week or the week prior, just running routes for receivers and just really sticky in coverage. What is it about him as a corner that makes him so strong?
Yeah, well, one, he's tough. He's physically tough and has an attitude about him, and that's good. Loves the contact. Has good hips. You know, he turns his hips well, and has really worked on it. Uses his hand, long arms for his height. So he's gotten better and better every week.
And I know, again, the other side, Omari is just kind of a jack of all trades for you guys. Yeah. If a corner goes down, he's going to be the guy playing your starting corner. If Stephen Cannon, unfortunately, would have to go out, he's stepped up in the past and made big plays for you guys, taking you deep into the playoffs. I mean, just a perennial gamer committed to UAB to play baseball, but really stepped up and just seems like a natural fit on that corner position.
He's had a good year for us, and I'm very proud of him for that. He could also play safety, he could play slot back, he could do a million other things. So I
know AJ DePhillips wants to put him in the break in case of emergency box, but it's hard to keep a guy like that off the field.
We couldn't. We knew that early in the year. We just couldn't keep him off the field. So very very proud of him, and he's a smart kid and a team guy, and has obviously physical talents too. So he's had a good year.
Right, and again, you guys making some in-game adjustments, and I'm sure it's stuff you had talked about prior to the game, but felt like he went to more like of a bare look, and we've seen Larson do that a few times now in the playoffs. Had to do it against East Forsyth, where he's kind of stepped up as one of those defensive ends, just a walk-up linebacker, and you guys have some depth there at the inside linebacker spot. Houston was named the ITG Team of the Week from his linebacker performance. It just felt like those three guys back there at the linebacker spot had a really big game.
Definitely. And like you said, Larson, basically, going to our buck position. And what had been happening was they sealed Damian Guyton on one side.
Oh, no, we're going the other way.
And they're going the other way. And so we need Larson's stoutness, toughness, strength on that side. And he's played a lot of football and has done that well. And then, the inside backers, made a lot of plays. I thought Rasheen had a good game, and Jaden had a lights-out game.
Right.
16 tackles.
I mean, we talked about that a little bit previewing it, where it's like, this is a game where if you want to log the stat book from an inside linebacker spot, you can really do it.
Right.
And I thought he did it well. And I thought what was really cool to see was they had some big fullbacks. And maybe not typically that your linebackers are undersized compared to the guy who's toting the rock, but they had no problem sticking their nose in there.
Yeah, no, Jaden's tough. Jaden's very tough, and 180 pounds, but he will most every time he's hit somebody, they're going the other way.
Right.
So he had a good game there, and Rasheen's a little bit undersized, but has tremendous speed.
And Coach, just kind of wrapping this one up, I thought the response from your team when you knew Marist was going to, but when they made it a game there in the second half, and you just see that third quarter just bleed away as they've been apt to do. I think back in the North Oconee game, North Oconee got the football once in the fourth quarter. It's just it's what they do as a football team. I thought the response in the fourth quarter, picking up the third downs when you needed to, putting more points on the board, was just really massive from your team. But just looking at them, they don't seem like they can be phased right now.
Yeah, no, I think so. I think they've got a goal in mind, and and it was one getting to where we're at this week, and then two finishing the job. So there wasn't. I don't know about you, but I never was concerned. I mean, yes, Merritt scored.
Right.
That third quarter took 7 minutes almost on the clock,
and only went about 50 yards.
Right.
With that, it wasn't like an 80-yard drive.
Right.
Yeah.
So I wasn't really concerned, and then we immediately took the ball down and scored, and I felt very good once that happened.
And the biggest controversy of the game, was it a timeout or was it not a timeout?
Well, it was a timeout because they called it, but I did not call the timeout, and no, it was not the whole Kirby thing. I was asking Coach DePhillips. I was standing right by the official.
But you were speaking into the headset.
But I was speaking into the headset, and I just say, Coach, do you want the timeout? And the guy just
timeout. Yeah.
Ran out. Usually they'll look at me, look at me, and I'm, but I wasn't. I was just like, I didn't call it. But
that's funny. Danny Britt exonerated from that one, and Coach wrapping up that big time Marist win. A little bit of a dance.
Yeah.
In front of the team right there. Was that just the relief of getting past a really salty team that's difficult to play, or did this add in the state championship into that? What was the emotion that led to cutting loose a little bit?
Just enjoying it and wanting them to enjoy
Yeah.
it. And a lot of times now we can get so caught up in, structure and this is what we're doing. And okay, that's over now next.
Right.
And I wanted them to enjoy the moment. I was trying to hopefully if my little goofy dance helped with that, it's a good thing.
I want to say this because I've been thinking about it, watching Creekside and just watching the season that they've had, and then obviously calling all the games for you guys. Playing in the state championship, there's all the pomp and circumstance that goes with that. You're playing inside Mercedes-Benz, GPP's there. All of the college recruiters are going to be there watching those football games because it's just as easy. You can get there and watch 14 teams roll through over the course of a few days. Everybody's talking about you on social media because they're all in basketball season right now. And then in the day and age of money and NIL and look at me, it feels like there's 2 teams meeting in Atlanta for the state championship that would be just as fine pulling over to the side of the road and playing football on a dirt lot. It's 2 teams that just want to play ball. And I think they're more excited than anything that they just get to do it for another week.
I think so, and I think it's very well put. Yeah, just get the opportunity to play football again, get the opportunity to be together again. These seniors, a lot of us, this is it. So you want to make the most of it. It's also a little bit of a understanding that this was a goal, and we've made it happen now. Go finish it. But I think you're right. Yeah, we'll meet in the Walmart parking lot if that's what we need to do.
If you get to play ball one more time, I know there's a lot of guys and ladies out there who are athletes too, but football players in general who just are watching this right now thinking about that last time they got to play. You guys get 5 extra games just because of continuing to win in the playoffs. I think that's always a really big deal. Doesn't matter if it's for a title or not, just a chance to play one more game with your guys is always big, especially for a really historic senior class. Got Creekside coming up this coming Monday. It'll be a 7:00 kick for your Cadets primetime.
That's right.
Monday Night Football for the Cadets.
Game.
We're going to come back, preview that next right here on the Danny Britt Show.
BowTie Barbecue Company at 6724 Waters Avenue in Savannah serves up barbecue both familiar and new, made by hand and made with love. Family friendly and relaxed, BowTie takes great pride in the by hand preparation of high quality beef ribs, smoked chicken, pork spare ribs, and more. Come join the BowTie family. Ask about our food truck and catering too. BowTie Barbecue Company, Southern charm naturally. Look for them online at BowTieBarbecueCO.com. BC Brothers Moving is Savannah's most trusted moving service. From residential to commercial to packing supplies, BC Brothers does it all. Let BC Brothers' energetic, trustworthy team wrap it, pack it, and move it for you. Check out BC Brothers online at bcbrothersmoving.com or give them a like on Facebook.
Cash and Carry wants to buy your car. New, used, running or not. Miles don't matter. We pay cash on the spot. Fast, easy, and hassle-free. Call today. Cash and Carry, where your car turns into cash.
As the world's largest lifestyle retailer of recreational boats and yachts, MarineMax is dedicated to connecting people with life-changing experiences on the water. More than just a boat retailer, MarineMax offers a complete range of services. 3518 Old Tybee Road, Thunderbolt, and online at marinemax.com.
Welcome back into the Danny Britt Show. Christian Gokel, Coach Britt, and Coach getting ready for a state championship.
Yes, we are. It's championship game time. This is obviously incredibly important, but so is planning your finances. Many of you may be spending more time on football than on your financial well-being, which maybe not this week, but overall is much more critical. That's why you should check out Abel's Iron Moore & Associates, an independent, fee-only advisory firm helping families lock in smart, confident financial strategies. No commissions, no gimmicks, just real fiduciary advice that puts you first. Call AIMA at 912-777-4128 or visit AIMAINC.com.
Oh, Coach, getting ready for a state championship game for the second time this postseason, facing an undefeated football team. Coach Marist Dixon and his Creekside team, unbeaten thus far, set the state record for total points scored this season. And just watching tape, what stood out to me was they're fast. When watching tape, what has stood out to you about this team?
Yeah, it's hard to miss speed. But they're very, very fast. But they're physical as well. They're physical. They got good size. So they're an all-around football team.
And I think people could be forgiven if they're from another state tuning in to watch this football game is like, is this a small college game or is this a high school football game? Two offenses are going to spread you out. They got RPOs. They're really going to try to run the football between the tackles, but have no problem getting back and throwing the football if they need to. I think two very similar styles of attack for you guys.
Definitely so. I mean, yeah, you're right. It looks much like, the collegiate game, both with the physicality of the players and what we're doing. But yeah, offensively, yeah, they'll spread you out. They'll run, all the basic zone plays and the counters and the powers, and then and then they can 5-step drop all day long too.
And we talked about the speed, but specifically, what has made them so difficult to defend this year?
I think one, their attitude, they just keep going.
Yeah.
They just keep attacking. They have a lot of guys, so a lot of speed, a lot of guys, and they, very physical attack. But I think they have a mentality where they're attacking.
Right,
here we come.
And I was talking to somebody. I was like, yes, they have scored the most points of anybody in the history of the state of Georgia, but is there a defense you'd rather have trying to match up with them than the guys you got rolling out there?
I don't think so. I think our guys have done really, really well, and we got some really good football players too. And Coach Houston has been just pouring into this, and ever since last, I won't say Friday night, but Saturday morning, and and getting after it.
And you have a young man on your team who I think has had, if you look at the stat sheet and you watch the game, I think has had an unbelievable season. But I think some people are still waiting for the flash moment, maybe, where it's just like, this is the highlight reel play where you're like, oh, snap. And again, if you watch the game, there's about 20 of those a game. But I think this is the moment, and it's why he came to Benedictine, LaDamian Guyton. I think if there was a game and there was a style of team to play against where you're like, okay, the number one guy I'm going to choose is this guy, this is a moment where he can really step up and shine.
Without a doubt. And you're right. And what people don't understand, and I get it, you may think, okay, well, man, he should have a few more sacks.
Right.
Everybody, knows exactly where he's at all the time.
It's hard to miss him.
They're designing for it. Two, the amount of pressure he's had, constant pressure, which I don't know if it's Georgia's defense, where they don't worry as much about, it may have been
sacks. Yeah, it's the habit rate.
Yeah. They don't worry as much about sacks. Are you changing the quarterback?
Right.
Are you making the quarterback do different things?
Right.
And boy, has he done that. But yes, you're right. This week aligns perfectly for him.
Right. And I would say through 13 games now, don't know that there's many teams that have just done straight dropbacks against you guys. And when they have, it has not gone overly well for them in that situation. And yeah, you talk about Georgia where saying, hey, you don't get a ton of sacks. And Kirby Smart's counter is always, how many times are the quarterback holding on to the ball for more than 2 seconds?
Right.
Like, just when they have to, you can get after him. But I think he's a guy that's going to be huge. And we always give Cam Cody his flowers because it's hard not to, because the dude's unbelievable. When you get one more chance to watch him play as a cadet before he heads off to Clemson to be the next in line of perennial NFL draft picks from that football program on the defensive line. But what is it about how he plays that allows you to be so successful defensively?
Well, one, he's athletic for a 300-pounder, and just really has taken the coaching well over the years and plays very physical, and very sound. That's the biggest thing this year than in years past.
Right.
He's extremely sound in what he's doing physically, and has played really hard. So he's taken up a lot of blockers this year, and made a lot of plays from his position. It's really impressive with the number of tackles he's had this year.
And again, going to need those guys to step up and the rest of the defense. We were without Jameer last week. Can you give us an update on him?
He is back and good to go.
And then Carson Granger, I thought, got some valuable experience in there as well against Marist. So a guy who's ready to rock and roll. Hopefully secondary. I know you've been. It feels like you can never get all three of those guys at the same time with Jonathan Black, JoJo Sutton, and Amari Burst. But hopefully get those three guys back and ready to roll.
As of practice yesterday,
okay,
they were all good to go.
Hold on, you and me both.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Hit it.
But again, the full complement of those guys is going to be massive defensively. And we've talked a lot about their offense. It's been unbelievable. Flip it over defensively, they've been really, really hard to score on. I think held Kell to 7 points in that football game in the semifinals, and really all season long have just been decimating football teams. What do they do so successfully on that side?
They attack.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same mindset. They they'll go 3 or 5 front and just get after you a lot, and they play a lot of man behind.
Right.
So we have to be prepared for that, and that's what they've done. And it doesn't look like it's changing. That's
Sure.
what they do. They get after it, and a lot of speed. And speed you can make up for a slight mistake when you have that much speed. So they get after it and play very physical.
I think one thing that's going to be massive, especially against that style of defense, is just kind of identifying what defense they're in. How much of that is on Steven and how much of that is AJ?
It's both. It's AJ tries to take as much of that as he possibly can, but he spends a lot of time with Steven teaching him and talking to him and helping him understand, what's expected. And he tries to limit it. So you're not having to be Tom Brady out there in high school. You're saying, okay, here's your one read. If this, do this.
Right.
Not 5 different things.
And a lot of check with me when you get set up and
a
look
lot
at the
of check
sideline.
with me,
Yeah.
and AJ does does a good job with that.
And I think that's easier said than done a lot of times because you got to get the team to the line and have time on the clock.
Right.
But just with identifying the defense, for those maybe watching who don't know what we're talking about, kind of explain that to them a little bit and why it's so important against a really good defense.
Yeah, one you got to know let's start with the offensive line. You got to understand. Let's say it's a pass play. You got to understand the protection, and that's not up to Steven. That's up to most of the time the center. I know Turner Walker does that a lot at the guard spot when Colin had to go to center. So in determining the protection and where the pressure's coming from. Again, back to the pass play, Steven has to understand where you're going with the ball and what he expects to happen and where the pressure may come from. So you have to understand all of that before you snap the ball.
Yeah. And for those who just haven't had a chance, I know most people haven't, but just listening to that offensive staff communicate and just the amount of information they exchange in about 15 seconds, it's not a lot of people can do it, and I think they've got it down.
Yeah, they do a lot. Understanding it's a lot coming out of there, and they getting it to the players via signal is pretty impressive.
So again, going to be massive for these guys coming out. And we got a rowdy fan hopping in here right now. Gonna have to kick him out. These BC guys get a little bit rowdy, but again, offensively for you guys, identifying and attacking, you can't double pat the football against these guys and stick back there. But we've talked about this before when you've gone out and played big time road games. 2 things travel: good defense and the ability to run the football. And I think Stanley Smart has been super consistent for you guys throughout, but just keeping you guys ahead of the chains and just getting those tough yards and then popping one, that's what you need from your running back.
Definitely. He's going to have another big game and be able to get the very tough yards for us. And then, with that being said, then, hopefully he can pop one. And he's got, as fast as this team is we're playing, he's got a whole lot of speed himself. So as do a lot of the other guys. And,
Coach, you've played in a bunch of these state championships before. You've won a lot of these state championships before. They always seem like they're tight football games that come down to the fourth quarter. What's kind of the common thread for the teams that come out on top in these games?
I think staying true to who you are. And, I was talking to the coaches. We understand we're playing an absolute beast in Creekside and, the best football team we played since Buford for sure.
Right.
But we're a good football team too. And we do things really well too. So we've got to be able to adjust to what they do, but staying good in doing what we do, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So consistency, going out there for 4 quarters and consistently doing what you do. There's going to be negative plays. There's going to be probably turnovers. There's going to be, certain things that happen, and you just have to stick to what you are and not let it go in a different direction.
And it's going to be a fun one too. Really, really talented teams. A lot of guys on the field. They're going to be playing football on Saturdays very soon. But Coach, for the fans out there who are watching right now and have been to a bunch of the football games and who have really supported this community, I know you got a couple of fan buses going up to Atlanta. I know it's easy to sit at home and listen to John Nelson on GPB and watch that football on Channel 8.
Right.
But there's only so many chances you get to go to Mercedes-Benz. I think encouraging people to get up there and experience what that's like is huge.
I think so. I mean, one, it's a beautiful stadium to be in, and it's really neat. It's inside, so all the people that were scared to come out in the cold last week.
And it turned out to be perfect.
Yeah, it did. It was nice, but it's inside, so you don't have to worry about that. It is it's going to be a great environment. It's 2 really good teams with a lot of dudes on the team.
And speaking of that, just cadet family and the brotherhood there, wanted to give a shout out to a young man, I'll say, who has traveled over 3,000 miles this season to see the Cadets play at home and support his granddaughter, who's a cheerleader for the Cadets. We want to wish a happy birthday to Fred Gongola, who's a massive supporter for your Cadets. I know he watches the shows. They live up in North Georgia, but
Nice.
we talk about the people in Savannah who were like, hey, you got to get off your butt and get to the stadium. My man's driving from North Georgia to Memorial Stadium on Friday nights to watch your Cadets. That's the commitment we're looking for.
No doubt, no doubt. And happy birthday to him. We appreciate it. We greatly appreciate it.
And a little bit easier drive for him.
Yeah,
coming up.
Should be a lot easier.
Coming up on Monday. Stay tuned. We're going to have some information. This isn't the last time you're going to see myself and Coach before the state championship. So we'll get you some information on that up from Atlanta, and papers are flying. We got some wind and some elements over here in Savannah, but a chance to hear some more from Coach before that game on Monday. But if you can, get up to Atlanta, watch your Cadets take on Creekside for the 4A state championship. Don't get to do this a whole lot. So exciting to get up there and see them. Coach, we appreciate the time, man. Look forward to seeing you up in Atlanta.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Go Cadets.